Hello, and welcome to Greet the Week. I am Mona Duncan. This program is looking at being aware of what's going on in the present moment. And although there may be additional things that have not been done to this moment, and there may be things that need to be done in just a little bit, but it's not holding on to those and being burdened with them. That whenever we're in the moment, we can be in the moment and appreciate it. And also looking at some suggestions as to how that what we do, what we think can increase. Our topic today is on conflicting emotions. Have you ever experienced those where there's a conflict there, you don't really know what you're thinking and don't know how to handle it? So motion is a gesture, however we use it. It is a movement of some kind, whether it's dancing or walking down the hall or whatever. Motion is a proposal, looking for something that would take into activity. Motion is also a signal. But whenever we begin to look at emotion, then there's another element that's been added. The energy is behind the motion itself. It is the energy behind the gestures, and they may be very concrete, or they may be, very flailing, because that energy is behind it, behind the motion and so forth. So as we begin to look at, and so that energy, is it a positive energy or is it a negative energy? Is it relaxing? Is it enjoying the moment of being where you are? Or is it having a lot of agitation? And then realizing always that you are in the driver's seat of your own life. So here, I can't. People often say, I can't help how I feel. And in some respects, there may be an element of truth there, because it is true that we cannot control how another interacts with us. But we do have a lot of control over how we respond back to the person that we are interacting with. Another point is to look at the fact that, well, just let me share with you the secret, the non-secret secret. And the non-secret secret is to respond to an individual is not to react to their personality or to their tone of voice or to the look on their face. As we begin to, our senses are always reading and looking and looking and diagnosing. And as we look at things, we may be projecting onto others something that may be there or it may not be there. But the secret is to not be so involved in what the unknowns. It's also, I can't help how I feel. It is more referring to the emotions rather than the thought of, do I have this? Can I handle this? Emotions are created jointly by our unconscious thinking or our creative mind, as well as our conscious thinking, that what we are aware of that's going on in our mind at the time. And emotions, we can train ourselves through new information. We can train ourselves to not go there, to not give license to, or to give license to something that would be beneficial. And breath work really helps tremendously in keeping ourselves calm and in acting rather than reacting, and in negotiating. So sometimes we have those emotions. I can't help how I feel. It's a lot of hand-me-down fears and miseries. My mother was extremely scared of storms and lightning, and she was always very nervous during those. And as a child, I had some nervous agitation also, that knew it was scary and dangerous. But then my mother's sister, my Aunt Ruth, was a relatively calm individual all the time, but especially during storms. And she just loved to sit out on the back screened-in porch and actually watch the storm take place and be thankful that, they were getting rain, or just watch it and enjoy it. And it was her calmness and her encouragement. Well, just come sit with me. Let's just watch it. We do want to respect it. It is something we need to respect and not go out and play in while the storm's going on. But it's being in the present where you are now and being okay with it and looking around, are we safe here? And then allowing that to sink into our mind and into our heart and into our soul and into our spirit. Sometimes we can have those out of control thoughts. As our thoughts begin to place blame, we have a tendency to become vulnerable or upset. And before we know it, we're not deliberately thinking, we're just experiencing. We're becoming angry. We're becoming resentful. We're beginning to maybe feel self-righteous to a degree. We're dredging up toxic thoughts. And this leads to a feeling of vulnerability. The thing of it is that the more disempowered anyone is, the more disempowered we become, the more violent we become, the more aggressive, the more angry, the more we become that. And so we do have the power over whether we gear things up or we tone them down, because it's all within our prerogative. So here, the title on this next slide is Can't, Never, Did, Do Anything, but Can. Now that sounds a little maybe grammatically incorrect, but that's what my dad would say to me quite frequently. And he would say it to other people when they would come up, I can't do something, I can't do this. He would say, can't, never, did, do anything, but can. And I know another saying that my dad always said to me was that if you are looking for a helping hand, look at the end of your arm. The thing of it is that things that we ingrain into our psychic and into our spirit and into our soul can become helpful and harmful. And the fact of Daddy asking me to look at the end of my arm for end of my sleeve for a helping hand, for a long time, I wouldn't ask for help. And I began to realize that that was one thing I had taken to emotions, had taken them to extreme, and that it is okay to ask for help on occasion. So back to our secret of the non-secret. By observing our thoughts and our emotions, we need to witness what we're thinking, witness what we're doing. We can be a witness to and build on each other's thoughts and see how much we're thinking of things that aren't true. Witness your thoughts before responding and use this as a baby step to healthy non-attachment or not attacking. And then to breath work helps tremendously. To just take a deep breath and sometimes to just let it out so that we can be there in a more calm state. Be patient. Feelings can change on their own. Goes back to the breath work and to just kind of putting things aside. If we're not stirring up the pot or turning up the heat, whatever's there will begin to simmer. Our emotions will calm down because our body is our servant. So we do not allow those emotions to dominate us or to dictate our behavior. Those energized emotions to dictate our behavior. There is motion and there is emotion. Kind of already talked about that. Emotion has energy behind it. And eventually toxic emotions will disappear if we don't give in to them. And that non-toxic thinking will start to arise from our heart that would have compassion and understanding. And then also in realizing what we can do is we can not identify everything that's going on as I, me, or mine, taking it so personal. Tame the judgment, the interpretations, or the stories that we tell about the things we see or what we're thinking. See the bigger picture without a clash of all the senses. The heart and mind will accept without a lot of protesting if we'll keep our active mind, the chatter mind, calm. When we protest, toxic emotions begin to emerge. So each person, here's our planet Earth. Each person is wonderful, special, and important. And in the big scheme of things, one life is worth no more or no less than another. Because every human being has infinite worth and value by the simple fact that we, as human beings, are the highest order on planet Earth. And what we believe is important because our beliefs, pretty much what we believe is what we act out, how we behave. And those conflicting emotions can produce conflicting behaviors. The belief that one does not matter, whether we're thinking about ourselves or about the person that's giving us all this dialogue. Anytime we think that someone does not matter, then we kind of act out by overindulgence or addictions, or we just have all these things that try to compensate. And our attitude always plays a part. It's always there. It's always part of our psyche, part of our behavior, the thinking and the doing. Perhaps nothing shapes our destiny more than the negativities, more than the attitudes that we possess. It seems that low esteem, neediness, and a negative attitude kind of hang out together. So let's separate them so that we can be who we are created to be. We need to get honest with ourselves and ask, is the attitude that I am projecting helping or hurting? Is it drawing us closer together or pushing us further apart? How is it helping? How is it hurting? What is my attitude doing to the important relationships in my life? And then realizing how important perception is. Our perception, which is what we see, and we think we see well. But there's always so many spectrums in everything that we can't see it all. Honestly, explore our definition of what works. Is it to help or is it to self-evaluate? We want to see if that we're living in touch with our core values, and maybe sometimes writing them down so that we can go back and remind ourselves what our core values really are. And if not, what tools can we have to make changes? When we encounter opposing ideas that may, bring a little frustration or anger within, then I suggest it is our creative mind trying to get us to wake up, to say, hey, it's time for some new information. It's time for some new acting going on. And it's realizing that we are in the driver's seat. So be there. But be there in a healthy mode. Destiny is shaped by our choices. And all of choices have consequences. Good, neutral, or maybe not so good. Our behavior is purposeful and is our best attempt in the moment of trying to get a need met. So the question is not, will we get the need met? Will my needs be met? But how will it be met? And what will be the outcome of meeting whatever that need is? And awareness is a key element in making positive changes. We are a work in progress, and we're under construction until the day we die, because things are always changing and always happening. So continue to learn and to grow and to overcome. Do not allow the circumstances to beat you down. Allow difficulties to be a tutor that helps us to learn more about who we are and how to interact with others, whether they be the kind-hearted ones or the not so kind-hearted ones. And then always, always know you, get to know you. Spend some time in serious personal reflection to discover the wonderful person that you are, to find how unique human being you are and what a unique and significant purpose you have. Through meditation, just thinking, being able to be free from a false macho or that overinflated ego or that crippling shyness or being uncomfortable in one's own skin. To search your heart so the substance of who you are can be revealed to you internally. Your esteem, your wisdom, your love, your creativity, your peace, your joy, all of these are little hidden treasures inside that we can mine, M-I-N-E, mine, as in like a coal miner going to look for gold or a gold miner going to look for gold. And then realizing that all of us have this inner chamber into which we can retreat at will. We can shut things down. We can just close them down temporarily. It is a sanctuary that's free from all the daily cares. We can be free from judgments, free from agitation. We can be free from turmoil. It's a place where your senses can rest, where you're regenerated and recreated. And the longer we stay in that little secret place, the better equipped we are to handle the public life and the things that are difficult. So life becomes congruent when we listen to the brain that's in our wisdom heart and have it in conjunction with the brain that helps to regulate us. Well, thank you for being here. Would appreciate any comments, and those of you that are live, stay tuned and we'll discuss things. And in the meantime, have many blessings, and thank you for being here.